Infiltrating the rogue camp is a dangerous and challenging task in Tarkov, but the 2 folders of information inside the camp could be used to uncover the secrets of the Terror Group organization. Terror Group's operations are widely unknown, but responsibility for the entire conflict in the region likely lies with them, so the folders are of high interest and value. My brother and I had successfully retrieved one of the folders, but the second still remained locked away inside Building 1 on the west side of the compound. The area is heavily guarded, and safe paths into and out of the camp are tightly kept secrets. Luckily, I had uncovered a pathway into Building 1 thanks to an unlikely ally I had met previously in the area. Armed with this new information, I was determined to breach the camp and complete my goals. Today, I found myself alone. No one would be there to cover my back, so I would have to tread carefully on my journey. I equipped myself with some sturdy Class 4 armor and an M4, the same M4 that I had pulled off a dead enemy at the beginning of this entire endeavor. The weapon would be suitable for the mission, but I added a suppressor and a better grip to further increase my odds of success. Really quickly before we jump in, if you'd like to find friends to play Tarkov or other games with, there will be a link to my Discord server down in the description. It's also a great way to get in touch with me and to stay up to date on videos I post or to catch the streams I'll run in the future. I'd love to have you as a part of the community, so feel free to join. Anyways, with all of the prep work done, I made my way to the camp. The raid began in a great spot. I found myself in the northeastern hills of the region, so it was likely that I could become the first one to enter the rogue camp in this particular raid. I descended the rocky hillside, and after dispatching a mounted machine gunner, I was able to breach the walls and enter Building 2. These back rooms had potential for valuable loot, so I took a few minutes to pick through the area. Back in the first video, I mentioned that both the information and the items found here can be of interest to the right people, and I was hoping to find some stuff I could sell or trade for profit before heading to Building 1. Sure enough, my looting had paid off. Along with some smaller odds and ends, I had found a small container of fuel that I could use to power the generator back in my hideout, and there were these 2 car batteries. While the car batteries aren't incredibly valuable on their own, I still hadn't finished the car repair quest for Therapist, so they were of high interest to me. But I realized I wasn't alone in the building, and it was likely a PMC or a player scav. It turned out to be a scav, but I clearly wasn't taking any chances. Anyways, I continued my looting and moved upstairs to pick through the offices and other rooms. With the player scav now on the roof, it seemed like the scav onslaught had just begun, and with all the weight I was carrying, I didn't want to risk staying here any longer. I took a mule, SJ6, and Propital to temporarily help with the weight problem and got moving. My plan was to head for the armored train, as I didn't have the northern checkpoint as an option, but I'd have to get up this small hill and across the road to safety. The only issue was the chance that rogues could be on the roof above me. I had narrowly avoided my brush with death, but now I was pinned against the wall with several rogues above me. I thought about going back inside or up to the roof to clear them out, but I had limited amount of time to move with the stims. Instead, I decided to try something a bit more risky. I had a few grenades, so maybe I could throw them up there to get the rogues to back off, giving me enough time to cross the road and get behind the concrete wall.
Fuck! Enemy frag!
I swear I had been holding my breath, but by some miracle the plan had worked. Now I just had to find somewhere in the train yard to lay low while I waited for the train to arrive. This seemed like as good a spot as any, so I threw my heavy bag down and climbed into the nearby train car to shelter myself from the rain and hide from any enemies that may show up. At this point, all there was left to do was wait. The rain fell steadily, but at long last I heard the train pull into the station. I finished healing the damage I had taken from the mule stim, grabbed my bag, and slowly dragged myself into the train. I found a good corner to sit in, and luckily no one else showed up, so this outing was a success. It had been a very lucrative raid. I had made good money from selling the items I had pulled out, and Therapist finally had her car batteries. Unfortunately, I had no option but to go back again. Really quickly before we jump into this last raid, if you enjoy the videos I make and you'd like to support me and this channel, there will be a link to my Patreon page down in the description. It feels a little weird to bring up, and I'll keep making videos when I can regardless of Patreon, but I just wanted to put it out there for anyone who might be interested. Anyways, let's get back to the good stuff. The intel the mechanic was after was still gathering dust somewhere in Building 1. After getting my PMC a good meal, I set back out for what would hopefully be the last time. I entered the region along the coast, so this was the perfect opportunity to use the new route I had recently learned of. I began my trek north towards the camp. After clearing the area, I took a brief moment to open the Red Marin car before moving on. I closed the trunk as I left to make it less obvious that I had been there, swapped the iridium into my secure container, and got moving once again. As I was scouting the shore ahead, a loud shot in the distance caught my attention. I had whiffed what should have been an easy shot, but I shook it off and went back to scouting the camp. I would have to move very carefully, as popping up in the wrong spot or moving too far forwards would easily result in my death at the hands of the rogue camp's border guards. I couldn't see the left gun very well, but the right gun was clearly empty, and then I spotted someone creeping around below the left gun. I was pretty sure my shot had been lethal, and after scouting a little bit more, it felt safe enough for me to cross the river, so I got moving before the opportunity passed. After making it across the log bridge, I scanned the area I had just come from to ensure that I wasn't being followed. The moment had passed and it was time to continue along the path that had been shown to me. I stayed to the left of the grass to avoid the mines and crossed over the Scav Grotto area and into the rocks and foliage between the camp and the ocean. It was now time to do even more scouting, as I like to gather as much information as possible before moving into an area. A little bit of movement on the roof caught my attention. I didn't have a clear shot from here, so I adjusted my position in hopes of finding a better angle. No luck with the shots on the roof scav, so I went back to scouting. The last area I wanted to check was out to the left of Building 1. I didn't see anything, so at long last I made the push across the road to the outer wall of Building 1. I made it inside through a broken window and stopped to listen for anyone else that could be inside the building. It was clear that I wasn't alone, but I couldn't be sure of where the other people were, so I was very cautious. It felt like the enemies could either be outside or up on the roof, so I made a break for the offices, hopefully to find the info for Mechanic. The scream accompanied by the steps on metal made me think that someone was coming down from the roof, so I went to cut them off. I had dropped a PMC at the cost of my leg, but I could hear a player scav just behind the wall.
Пожрать бы, конечно, вообще не помешало бы это.
Мне наши сказали, что тут юсеки бродят. Надо аккуратней.
My little trick had worked, and it seemed like he was fooled, at least for the time being.
Да нихуя тут нет никого!
If that regular scav hadn't shouted at me, I probably would have died to the player scav that had been sneaking up. For the time being, my immediate surroundings were clear, so I took some time to repack the ammo I had spent. With the ammo situation taken care of, I now had to patch up my injured leg. Now that I was fully healed, I wanted to strip my PMC of any useful gear. There was always a chance that player scav had known I was a PMC all along, especially after all that fighting, and if I were him, I'd find somewhere to hide and watch the body to set up an ambush. With all of that going through my head, I knew I had to clear the area before looting. Nothing seemed off, so I went ahead and grabbed what I could. I had picked up pretty much all that I could carry, but I still wanted to see the inside of that backpack, so I moved everything back inside to sort through it in relative safety. I quickly went back out, grabbed the bag, closed the door to my room behind me, and the time to start sorting had officially begun. All of the PMC's loot was now sorted, but I still had to check the dead player scav on my way to the offices. There was a lot of stuff here, and after a few tough choices, it was finally time to move upstairs in search of Mechanic's folder. I now had everything I'd come for, but with 58 kilograms of gear on me, it would not be an easy walk to extract, so I took another Propital and Mule. That scav had given me a pretty good scare, but after giving him a quick once-over, I was more than ready to leave. I thought about going out through the large bay door, but the window seemed like a better option. I was now headed to the northern checkpoint, so all I had to watch out for were rogue roof gunners and the occasional scav that could be sitting up in the rocks near the train yard. I had made it all the way to the northern checkpoint, and after checking for exit campers, I slipped out and was home free. This raid had been a massive success, and the mission for Mechanic was now finally complete. Hopefully the information would prove useful in the efforts to uncover Terror Group's many secrets. And that concludes my current endeavors at the Rogue Camp. I did go back with my brother at a later date to help him get the folder for himself, but it wasn't nearly as eventful as the other raids we ran together in this mini-series. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed these videos, and I'd like to thank you so much for watching them. It means a lot that you'd spend your time here, and I definitely won't take it for granted. I'd also like to thank Emperor, Royal, and Dutch for taking time out of their day to help me record the cinematic footage used in all 3 of these Rogue Camp videos. It means a lot, and that intro in the first video would not have been possible without them. Anyways, I think that's about all I have to say, so once again, thank you so very much for watching, and as always, Remember to take care of yourself and have a good night.